Has Netanyahu lost his balance? Has his own survival in power become more important for the Israeli Prime Minister than his country, Israel itself? I ask this because ministers in his own cabinet are accusing him of placing his personal desire for power above the nation's interests. Forget pleas from across the world to Netanyahu to change course and negotiate an end to the 7-month war which has wrought such unbelievable havoc on children, on adults and destroyed cities. Netanyahu is facing growing pressure from his own war cabinet. On Wednesday, War Cabinet observer MK Gadi Eisenkot accused Netanyahu of having failed Israel on matters of both security and economy, while urging that elections be held by the end of the year, in a stark indictment of the government that he's a part of. He said, and I'm quoting here, "It's clear that this government needs to be replaced as soon as possible." Gadi Eisenkot suggested that a vote be held sometime between September and December to build the nation. He emphasized the need to replace the current government as soon as possible, noting that moderate voices within the government were becoming increasingly marginalized and drowned out by the far right and hardliners. In particular, he criticized Netanyahu over the war against Hamas. Eisenkot, who lost his youngest son in combat in Gaza, criticized Netanyahu for misleading the Israeli public with promises of total victory against Hamas. He also stated that it would take years to stabilize Gaza and build an alternative to Hamas. Not stopping there, Eisenkot accused Netanyahu of failing to fulfill his campaign promises as well, including stopping Iran's nuclear program and strengthening the economy. In response to the allegations, Netanyahu's party, that's the Likud party, it issued a statement on Telegram. It accused Eisenkot and Benny Gantz, Netanyahu's main challenger, of seeking excuses to quit the coalition during the height of the war. The political war of words, it's revealed the deepening divisions within Netanyahu's wartime government. This latest dispute also raises big questions about how long the government can survive as Netanyahu tries to balance conflicting demands from coalition members and faces global scrutiny over Israel's conduct in the war, including from the United States, a top ally. 3 major nations from Europe, including Ireland, Spain and Norway, have shown their displeasure over Netanyahu's actions by recognizing the state of Palestine. There was near universal condemnation of the latest offensive in Rafah, which killed 45 Palestinians. Eisenkot's National Unity Party, led by Minister Benny Gantz, joined the war cabinet after Hamas's devastating attack on the 7th of October. Gantz is a member of the 3-person war cabinet overseeing the campaign, while Eisenkot participates as an observer. Gantz was seen as Netanyahu's main challenger earlier in May, threatened to withdraw his centre-right party from the Conservative Prime Minister's wartime government. He set the deadline for the 1st of June and warned that if Netanyahu did not offer clarity on post-war plans for Gaza, he would withdraw. Gantz has held broadened support for the government in Israel and abroad. However, if he quits, Netanyahu would still command a majority in parliament, with the backing of ultra-nationalist parties. But these parties have angered Washington and world opinion by their extremist demand for the annihilation of Gaza. They want the land to be annexed, Palestinians to be expelled, the land repopulated by Israeli settlers. America's patience with Netanyahu already appears to be wearing thin. Today, the Biden administration warned Israel. Washington has told Netanyahu to prioritize a hostage release deal immediately. The world is demanding a peace agreement. A majority of Israelis want a ceasefire. Only Netanyahu and the hard right with him seems to want continued war. What triggered this? A statement by Netanyahu's national security advisor, Zaki Hanegbi. Hanegbi stated last night that the war in Gaza will last at least 7 more months. U.S. officials cited by Israeli newspaper Haaretz said that waiting until the end of the war to negotiate a hostage deal will endanger the lives of many hostages, some of whom may not survive such a long period of time in the hands of Hamas. The unnamed American official emphasized the urgency of the situation, stating that regardless of the war's duration, a deal must be reached now. The hostages in Gaza cannot wait 7 more months. America's response aside, we too have a number of questions for Netanyahu's advisor. One, where did this magic figure of 7 months come from? Why does he think it will be 7 months and not more and not less? Is this figure a political ploy without any rational basis? Netanyahu has said a number of times that Israel was on the verge of total victory. If that's true, then why 7 more months? Israel has pounded Hamas in Gaza since October. What more is needed? Or is the 7 months because Netanyahu knows that the White House will be vulnerable to political pressure until the election process is complete in November, and no serious decision is possible until a new president is sworn in by January next year? Does Netanyahu think he can wait out Biden in Gaza? Remember, talks for the release of the Israeli hostages held by Hamas have been stuck since early May. Hamas had accepted mediator proposals that had not been previously presented to Israel, but the Israeli government rejected it. According to reports, the United States is facing a dilemma due to Netanyahu's refusal to accept any deal that could end the war. And it could also see a return of all hostages. Retired IDF General Nitzan Alon has recently even said that as long as Netanyahu and his far-right allies remain in power, a hostage deal will never materialize. Now that makes us question, does Netanyahu prioritize war for his own survival? Many American officials and neutral observers are convinced that that is the case. Just today, an Israeli airstrike on Rafah has killed 12 Palestinians. Fighting raged in several other areas of the Palestinian enclave. In the past 24 hours, 53 have been killed in Gaza, according to the Hamas-run enclave's health ministry. Since the war began, over 36,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's air and land war. Most of its 2.3 million population has been displaced. It is experiencing a humanitarian catastrophe as aid organizations report widespread malnutrition and a collapsed health system. So what is Netanyahu waiting for? The complete destruction of every home, every house in Gaza? For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.